Hiya, my name's Pete, welcome to the channel. On this episode we are in Leeds, Lower Wortley, and I'm walking up to the top of a hill on what might look like a nice little country lane off the main road. Now at one time this would have been a fairly busy little road up to a cemetery. The cemetery we're going up to is known as Hill Top Cemetery. That's because it's on a hilltop. Now there are around 3,000 burials in this cemetery, and it opened in 1873. At that time Leeds was experiencing a huge boom because of the Industrial Revolution. A lot of Jewish immigrants came to the country, and in Leeds in particular, setting up businesses, and the usual cemeteries were all getting full, so they wanted one of their own cemeteries. This isn't the only one, so I'll turn you round and I'll show you what I'm walking up, and I'll tell you a bit more about it when we get there. So that looks like that might have been a way into it at one time, but up here we've got demolished buildings. Now look how much this is overgrown, and this would have been a well kept cemetery. There are a couple of demolished buildings here. We've got the wall of one there. It doesn't look like we can see any brickmakers' names on there. That'd be interesting if there'd been some from the Farnley Brick Company or the Leeds Fire Clay Company in later years. Got some more bricks here. No makers' names. Got a lovely coping on there. Now, although this cemetery opened in 1873, all this area what you're looking at here was woodland up until 1850. This is on the edge of Farnley Wood, and if any historians out there, they might have heard of the Farnley plot, and that took place just over there, just in this direction. Now we can see this building here. The actual doorway is bricked up there. They're a fairly modern brick by the looks of it. We've got there you go, we've got a brickmaker, Whitaker, Leeds. I believe they came part of the Leeds Brick Company, Leeds Fire Clay Company, Lefco. Now you can see in there some headstones. It is an abandoned cemetery for good reason, and it is a bit risky coming up here really. Well, this track looks fairly well trodden. Here we go, look. Got a sign, look. We've got the gate in, an original gate. This cemetery is closed. This area is condemned for safety reasons, no entry. August 2020. And I will tell you why when we get a little bit further up and when I can find a better way in. You can see the old concrete wall there with the slots, the way that goes in. You can see how long that's overgrown. Now, while it may be an abandoned cemetery, there are multiple sections in there relating to different synagogues from the area. I think I might have missed my opportunity to get in, but what I can do is just show you there. Look, some headstones, I hope you can see those. The people in here are not forgotten, because down there is the more modern Jewish cemetery in this area of Leeds, and they hold a memorial every year for the people buried in there. Look at that. All that was thick woodland. Now, if you've seen my Farnley branch line, that little cluster of woods there is all that remains of the original Farnley Wood, with old oaks in it. All this was woodland, all cut down and destroyed by 1850, all gone. Acres and acres and acres of it. And this is why it's called Hill Top. As you can see, we're perched up on top of a hill. Now, we've got more headstones in there. We're not going to be able to look at many. I was hoping we were able to go see one in particular, but I'll tell you about it. So I'm going to go back down there and go through our way in. That's our building we were looking at with the Whittaker bricks. More than likely the only maker on those. But if we see anything else, I will keep looking down and checking them out. Now, as you can see, this cemetery is really overgrown and abandoned. We've got a headstone here that I can get to quite easily. We'll have a look at it and we'll check some dates on it. Excuse me. Barnet Glass, 4th of December 1965. And the one next to it, age 72, but I can't quite see a date. Leaving those two headstones behind me. I've got a bit of cough, I do apologise about that. I'm going to be really careful walking around here. I'm going to watch where my footing goes, and I'll only look up at you every now and again, because this is not an easy cemetery to access or walk around. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you. There you go. Now, where I am in Leeds, sort of Wortley, Farnley, that kind of area, was big mining country, and there is tons and tons of deposits still under here. But it was never mined at an industrial level, so it was more local miners scraping out a living, and landowners with small bell pits. Now, for when mines started to be developing, there were called bell pit mines, which would look like a bell, where there'd be like a shaft down, and then they'd just channel out a little bit on all around it, like the bottom of a bell, until it sort of started collapsing. Then they'd abandoned it and possibly fill it in. And you never had to tell anybody about these, right through until the 19th century. So when this land was purchased, they were not known about that this land was covered in these bell mines. Now I'm just going to show you an headstone here. Absolutely beautiful engraving on them. You've got your Star of David there. I mean, look at the quality of that workmanship. And the writing there, look at it. It's absolutely crystal clear and sharp. We've got access through the wall here because different synagogues would have different burial grounds on the same location. They would be separated by walls like this. Now, getting back to our story, because of the mines that are buried here, some of the graves collapsed. Now, although maps did show that the area was riddled with bell mines, it wasn't thought that there was any here, because nobody thought to map them. Look at how much that has overgrown. Absolutely incredible. There's some beautiful headstones. Now, in 2006, six graves and headstones collapsed 30 feet into the ground. So it was immediately known why. It was a bell mine that had collapsed. And at that point, the land was surveyed. It was filled in. And then it was deemed fit for use. Here we go, we've got another little door, gateway here to another synagogue's cemetery. So we'll have a walk through here, because I did see that this one was a bit clearer. Now we can see a lot of subsidence on these headstones, look. Those are the ones I'm staying away from. That looks like it's been pushed over. We've got all that through there. We've got huge tomb type ones as well. I'm going to go back through to where I came from, because I don't think I can access anything else that way. So going back to the mines, they were pretty much mined until all the minerals were exhausted, and then just filling them in and not telling anybody were there. So Farnley has got mines running everywhere. And again, I mentioned my Farnley branch line videos. Go back and go look for the first episode, because I do talk about bell mines, and I show you how many are in this area that are known about. I just want to show you these headstones here, matching. Again, they are just absolutely lovely. The craftsmanship on those, the stonework. We can no longer afford headstones like this. Some people choose not even to do funerals anymore, because the expense is just extortionate. So it looks like I can go through here a bit more. So after 2006, it was declared that it had been repaired. And it was reopened. It's just absolutely so thick and overgrown, it's really quite unbelievable. We can see a collapsed headstone there. And I think, well, I can see a huge memorial through there. I don't know if that'll pick you up on camera. And then we've got a lot of memorials here that are sinking into the ground. Yes, it's an old cemetery and some of them will settle and subside, but because of the history of this, I am not going anywhere else. I may come back in winter to show you this again, so if you want to see that, please drop in the comments that you want me to come back during the winter, where we can look at some of these headstones. So the Residual Coal Board Authority decided that they needed to take responsibility for these grounds, because the coal board still look after all the abandoned mines in the country, and they survey them every couple of years. When you think of how many coal mines there are that are known, heavy coal, you know, deep mines around Leeds, and particularly Barnsley and Lancashire, hundreds, as well as tens of thousands of these little bell mines all over the country. I wish I could get through there. I can see a headstone just glinting, but I feel it's too dangerous while the ground's like that and I can't see what's going on. It looks like I'm on a fairly well trodden path. Now, there was another collapse after they declared it fit the following year in 2008, 'cause it was declared safe in 2007. Now, after that second collapse, it was deemed that this land is too dangerous to be used, so therefore the cemetery was permanently closed. No, you're not allowed in here, but we're not doing any harm, and it's my own life I'm risking for you. But I feel pretty safe where I'm walking. Famous last words. I'm now leaving the cemetery because there is no chance of me being able to get anywhere near the grave that I was looking for. I don't even know which part of the cemetery it is, and it's sectioned off into 6 huge areas, I think. It's difficult enough trying to find a grave in a cemetery that you can walk around, but this one, no chance in summer. I say summer, it's very, very late spring now. So the grave I was looking for has a memorial on it. It's not the actual grave, because the person in the grave was lost at sea, and he was involved in a commando raid during World War II, and he was a British soldier of the Jewish faith who risked his life for England. Let's not forget that all creeds, religions fought for freedom during World War II. Now, this commando was lost at sea. He managed to get away in a dinghy and he was lost, and he has got a memorial in here, and he took part in the Saint Nazaire raid. I will let you Google that so that you will learn what that Saint Nazaire raid was. And I'm back to my way out. Now, I hope you enjoyed this little episode walking around Hill Top Cemetery in Leeds, Farnley. It's a beautiful spring morning. The leaves are out. All the spring flowers have now virtually gone, and we're entering the British summer. This is our second nice weekend, sort of mid-May now, so I'm hoping that the weather's going to be much nicer from here on in. Now, as I mentioned, this cemetery is not forgotten, but it is abandoned. The cemetery just down the road down there do hold memorials for the people buried here every year, which I think's a nice touching memory for them, because nobody is allowed up here, no family members. It was just closed and abandoned, and you can't enter here. I definitely want to come back, but I'll only come back if you watch this episode and if you write in the comments. And I want to do it during winter. I wanted to get there this winter, but I had that much on that I couldn't do it, because I think in winter, when all the undergrowth has gone back, we'll be able to see things. We might be able to even find a piece of land that's sunk in where a bell mine has collapsed. So until then, please subscribe to the channel, it really helps me out. I read every comment, so please make a comment. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.